Hey guys, I'm here to make a tutorial on how to make a simple elevator and hammer. I'm going to assume you've at least put together the geometry and stuff, so I've just made a little simple one here so that you don't have to watch me doing it. Um, and of course, now the first step would be to make the button. So I've got my button here, and what you want to do is first you want to make sure this is a prop dynamic, because then the button can move, right? And now we're going to get the nodraw material. This is just a tutorial how to make any button, but I thought I'd do it here just as well so you don't have to go find a different tutorial. We're going to want to make the nodraw about the size of the button. So let's move that there. Looks good. We'll adjust the size a bit. Look at it at the side. Might scale it just a little bit. You don't want to make it too big. Alright, good. And we'll name that elevatorButton. Let's look at its settings real quick. We haven't actually... Yeah. What you need to do is you need to press Control T, and you want to make this a func physical button. And as you can see, it's gone. That's that arrow is the direction that it presses. If it's facing the wrong direction, you'll have to adjust move direction here, and that will change the direction that the button presses. But it's good for us. It's all good. We'll set the use sound. That was the wrong way to click it. So we'll set it to press, which is like this. And we'll also set a fail sound because we'll use that later. And yeah, everything else here looks good to me. Yep, looks good. So now we'll set up the actual elevator. So what you want to do is you want to click this, press Control T, and change it to a func track train. No, it's not a train, but things are things. And let's look in its properties real quick. You want to change it to fixed orientation so that you don't have to rotate it properly, because it's not going... I assume you're not going to make your elevator turn around, so you don't need to worry about that. Let's change its speed to, say, 20. What else do we need? We'll do the move sounds as well. So I use these apartment elevator sounds. They're very nice. Let me see if I can find... There we go. You can obviously use any elevator sound you want. This is just what I'm using for this example, so it sounds a bit nicer. Yeah. And all these other settings look pretty good to me, so we'll name that elevator. Now, you're going to want everything else to move with your elevator. Oh yes, one thing I actually forgot about the button, sorry, is... Oh, careful. Is you want to get the actual physical button, the prop dynamic, and you're going to want to parent it to the elevator button, so we'll do that there, and that way it actually moves when you press it. And I bring that up. Hold on, have I named this incorrectly? Yes, I forgot to name it, elevator button. Yeah, sorry, just checking to make sure I haven't fucked everything up. So you want everything to move with the elevator. So first of all, any meshes that you have, you're going to want to Control T them and change them to func brush. And then go into their properties. First of all, you want to parent them to the elevator so that they move with the elevator. And to make it work, you're going to want, so that they're still solid for the player, you have to tick solid BSP. And then change this, the solidity, to always solid, so that way the player's hands don't go through it. Any props that you have, other than that button prop, you're going to want to change it to a prop dynamic, and you're going to want to also parent it to the elevator. And finally, the func physical button, you also want to parent that to the elevator. So now everything should be attached to the elevator. That's all good. Now we're going to add a path track entity, because this is what the elevator follows. Now keep in mind that when you attach your elevator to the path track, it will be teleported to the center of the path track, so you may have to, it won't stay where you put it, so you'll have to make sure you keep the path track where you want the elevator to be. There might be a way to stop this, but I'm not sure. Anyway, let's put this down. You'll want to rotate this so the arrow is pointing in the direction that you want. Just for ease of naming, we're going to call this elevator track 1. And then if you duplicate this using shift and dragging, you'll notice that it automatically names the next track, elevator track 2, and you'll see that it automatically sets the next stop target to it. But it won't do that for the func track train. So in the func track train, what you're going to want to do is, if I can find it, you'll want to set the first stop target to elevator track 1. And now it's all set up, but we've got to actually set up the logic. Now this is a two-way elevator. It's a bit easy if you have a one-way, but I'm going to make a two-way. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to put a logic branch, and we're going to call this isElevatorUp with an initial value of 0. Now we're going to make it so that on true, so when we want the elevator to be up, we will tell the elevator to start forward. I don't know why that's red. Maybe I've done a name wrong. I don't know why that's red. That is weird. And we're going to have it so when it's false, which means we want the elevator to be down, we're going to make the elevator go backward. It might be like that because it hasn't been set by anything. I don't know. But Source 2 does that a lot. It marks things as red, but they work. So yeah, so now we've got that. Now we're going to want to go to the button. And not the physical prop button, the nodraw brush that you used. And you're going to want to say, when it's pressed, you target isElevatorUp, and you want to toggle test. This will switch the value and it will test it, so it will activate the outputs on the relay. And what we want to do is we want to add an additional functionality to the button, so I should have kept that selected. When you press it, actually no, I'll do this later because it'll make more sense then. So what we're gonna do is, hold on while I remember. Sometimes this happens. My brain just goes blank. Oh yes, that was one thing I forgot. So let's go back to the button again. I'm sorry, I'm so frazzled. So on pressed, what we want to do to prevent the player from breaking it, we want the button to lock. So that way the player can't press it. And then we go to both of the path tracks and we add an output that says on pass, so when the elevator passes it, we want to target the elevator button and we want to unlock it. Again, I don't know why that's red. It might have been because I tested this beforehand and so it thinks it's broken, but it should work fine. And yeah, so we want to copy this and we want to paste it into this one. You have to use that button. Control C, Control V doesn't work, as far as I can tell. Now, an issue with the elevator, if you've gone this far and then tested it, you'll notice that the player goes through the elevator. This is a problem I had to deal with my zipline in my climbing map, and that Valve had to deal with as well. It's quite annoying, but it's an easy fix. What you want to do, let's go to the logic branch. Actually, no, sorry. Let's go to the button. I don't know why I did that. And you want to say on pressed, and then you want to target the player. Again, this shows as red, but it works. It shows as red in the Valve map as well, which is kind of funny. And this basically makes the player move with the elevator. So yeah, so that way it stops them from clipping through. Let me just make sure I actually parented. Yeah, I did. Okay. And what you want to do is for this, you want to set it so that when it's passed, you clear anchor parent on the player, so they're not still parented to the elevator, because that's not, like, if you want to move the elevator without the player, that's not going to end well if they're still parented to it. You could not do this, but I would not recommend it. It's not good practice. Yeah. Anyway, we want to copy that, and we want to paste it into this one as well. And I think that should be done. Let's compile it. We'll build cube maps because that's nice. This will take a bit. Hopefully this switches to my VR microphone. If not, that's going to be annoying, but yeah. And yeah, sorry, this will take a bit, but not too long. It's not a complicated map. Let's hop into VR. Lovely, my battery's low. Oh well. So now if we press this, it works. Except that apparently the button still works when it's failed. I don't know why that is. But I mean, actually that's fine because it just drops. I don't know why that's happening. It shouldn't be happening. But yeah. I guess I'll have to figure that out. Sorry about that. But I'm sure a lot of you will only be making one-way elevators anyway, so you won't need to worry about that. Just make it so that the elevator only goes forward. And for those of you who are making a two-way elevator, I'm sure it doesn't matter too much if it goes down. But anyway, let's get out of VR. So anyway, that's basically how you make an elevator in Half-Life Alyx. Hope this helped.